We're making it.
You are live.
I'm live. I've just been told by Phil Dugas of Dugas Creative that I am live. So welcome to I think it's our third or fourth live stream. And welcome to those of you who are watching the replay, as we love you too. Today's topic is gaslighting, what it is and what you can do about it. In addition to all the other vicious, destructive things a narcissist does, he gaslights. Just about every narc gaslights. Or she gaslights. Could be the woman too. Plenty of females, narcs out there. Now, the narc, in my experience, 80 to 85% of narcs, in fact, are men, but we have the 15, 20% that are women. Now, before I present some material on gaslighting and then interact with you, dear folks, a brief commercial. The blonde is remodeling our home and someone's got to pay for it. So I'm Dr. David E. Clark. That's Clark with an E on the end. I'm a Christian psychologist. I've authored 16 books, 17 in the works. I'm prolific, if nothing else. YouTuber, TikToker, and podcaster. Marital crisis is what I do. That's my specialty. And I check out all my resources, including my phone advice service, which is really all my practice now. Just about, I've got one in-person client that is hanging on and won't let go. Anyway, happy to work with him, but he'll be phasing out. It'll be all phone advice, which I like. But go to the website, check out all the resources. David E. Clark, that's Clark with an E on the end, davideclarkphd.com. Don't forget about my brand new book, Adult Children Who Break Your Heart. This is brand new. If you've got an adult prodigal, and I covers 10 specific scenarios, well, then this is the book for you. Before God, doing the best you can to get the prodigal's attention. There's confrontation of sin and also, of course, trying to build a relationship. There's a balance here. I think you'll find it very helpful to you. Now, what I'm going to do is talk about gaslighting for a few minutes. We've got some folks chiming in here. Very good. And then I'm going to respond to your comments and questions and any examples that you have of gaslighting. Yeah, let me hear them. All right, just type them in and we'll cover those too. Many of you have been living this nightmare. Maybe you still are, and you haven't gotten out yet. I like interaction, so fire away. And as most of you know, I hope I made this clear, the comments and the questions and the input is very helpful to me as I write books and as I create content, but also to all those that are on the team here listening and responding. We're helping each other. Let me read from Enough is Enough, classic book written by myself, of course, Moody Publishers. Book, Enough is Enough, on how to leave an abusive relationship with God's help. Let's read just a bit about gaslighting here. Oh, God bless your brother. Well, God bless you too. You know what? Yes, thank you. Gaslighting is an intentional, this is not a mistake, it's an intentional evil campaign your spouse is using to make you doubt yourself. The narc spouse is doing to make you doubt yourself and what you're thinking and feeling. It's supposed to destroy your self-confidence and make you doubt your abilities. And the narc is relentless. Lady or man, they're going to cut you down and try to destroy your faith in yourself. He acts in ways that keep you confused, off balance, and dependent. He is quite literally trying to drive you crazy, and they're pretty good at it. Now, the abusive narc wants you and others, including your children, to doubt your sanity. He's deliberately attacking your credibility day in, day out. This keeps him in a superior position, in control, where the narc must be, and compromises your relationship with your children and others in your social circle. He is undermining all of your relationships with yourself, with God, and with your children and everybody else important to you. He's building a narrative. Narcs are always forever building a narrative that proves you're crazy and unstable and untrustworthy. Why would anybody do this? Well, because he's a narc and they're evil, and this is what they do. So good reason for it. The result is no one will believe you and you'll be seen as the problem. He's even setting it up. He may not expect you to leave him, which I want you to do, and God wants you to do if you've actually got an abusive narc on your hands. But the narrative will be he's all set up in case you do leave, so you have to get ready. It's part of the preparation is getting ready for that. See, I told you she was crazy. She left me. Well, of course you left him. Plus, by communicating this false message, he scores major martyr points when he tells others, I'm doing my best to live with this unstable, lying, mixed-up woman. Behind your back and a lot of times in front of you, he's cutting you down. He keeps up regular attacks on your memory. This is one of the hallmarks of gaslighting. When you say something happened, all he has to do is deny it, and he will, even though he knows he's lying. It's a game for him. He'll say, I didn't say that. When you know he said that, I didn't do that. When you saw him do it, you may have a video, it doesn't make any difference. I didn't promise that. You didn't say that. You didn't do that. I don't remember that. That's not what I meant. That's not what happened. He'll say to you, you don't know what you're talking about. He's undermining, and he's so relentless and so persuasive, you can start to believe him. I've told so many ladies, especially, you can trust your memory and you can trust your gut and your intuition. Nothing wrong. You don't have Alzheimer's or dementia. A woman's memory is far better than the man's memory anyway. He does not respect what you say and think and feel and remember. Worse than that, he denies your thoughts, feelings, and memories. You are portrayed as crazy or a liar or both. He's taking away who you are with the gaslighting, and he's loving it because he's sick. Now, the narc will drive you crazy with gaslighting, and then when you melt down, as any normal person will eventually melt down, sob, yell, scream, shut down, get hysterical, get depressed, super anxious, he'll say to your kids and others with a straight face, look at her. She's crazy. I told you the poor thing was crazy. Evil. That's the only word I have to describe it. And gaslighting, as I've said, is entertainment for him. He actually enjoys doing this, watching you suffer, breaking you down. You got to get away from this kind of person. Now, he doesn't gaslight because he wants to divorce you. Oh, no. Very few narcs will actually file. Now, some will find a skank, divorce you, and marry this low-quality woman. Okay, that happens. But most narcs gaslight to stay in control, in a position of power, and to keep you codependent. And, of course, to keep their money. He'll stay married to you because you're legitimate. You make him look good. You take care of the kids. He doesn't lose money. And then he can do whatever the heck he wants anyway. Talking to a lady recently, in fact, this week, and this, of course, is a very common story. She finds out that her husband has not only been involved in pornography for years, but high-priced call girls, up to $300 a night for a skank. They're only worth $3. You shouldn't do it anyway, but she's found that out multiple times, and just regular women at his workplace. Awful. But he doesn't want to get divorced. Okay. Now, I got, of course, a lot of things in both these books, Enough is Enough, as well as my book on codependency, 20 Lies That Keep You with Your Abuser, that will help you with combating gaslighting and all the narc will shovel into your face. But here's just a few ideas for you. I want you to fight back against the gaslighting using a combination of emotional detachment, and this takes time, of course, and low-key indirect assertiveness. What you're doing is progressively shredding your codependency and building your identity. You're getting stronger and stronger just in degrees so you can eventually leave the abusive dirtball narc. See, that's the goal. Not to save the marriage, frankly. That's not going to happen unless a miracle happens, but to get out and to protect yourself and your kids. Again, the 20 Lies book is going to help you get strong enough to prepare to leave. That's my anti-codependency program. Now, keep in mind, the action steps in 20 Lies have nothing to do with the narc. I'm telling you, nothing. He's not changing. These steps are for you. Save yourself, save your kids, and get the heck away from him. Now, one strategy in 20 Lies is short one-way statements you make to the narc, small n, when he's gaslighting you. Now, feel free to say these things in front of your children and others. If the narc decides to have a public display in front of your family, your friends, your pastor, your children, okay, if he's chosen that venue, then you're going to come back in the same venue. Fair enough, because you're trying to defend your relationship, especially with your kids. Make these brief statements, which can also be texted or emailed later. If you can't do it at the time, you're not strong enough, you can't think quick enough, okay, fine. You can get back to him later and also let the kids know, hey, what your dad said this morning, here's what I said back in a text. You want to read the text? I'm serious. We're trying to build that relationship, because if these comments and gaslighting, if you let it go and say nothing, guess who's going to believe them? All those people, especially your kids, because there's no response to it. Again, you're dropping these statements in. They're one way. They're short. They're brief little surgical strikes. You don't get into a back and forth dialogue. Now, the narc's not going to like it with any kind of a pushback, even though this is kind of subtle. Tough. You're just going to say it, drop it, and move on. And here's what you can say. Very simple phrases. I disagree. That's what you said. That's what I said. I believe you have misremembered it. That's my position. Feel free to disagree. Just short. Now, he's going to hate those little comments. You're not out loud. You're not yelling. You're not aggressive in any way. You're simply standing up for what you think and what you believe. Unless you live in the Middle East, this is America. You have a right to your thoughts and opinions, and you're going to stand on it. He can disagree. He can say he thinks you're lying or you're not right. Fine. You're going to say, this is my truth. And of course, you're right and he's wrong. Now, if you live with a narc or know someone who is living with a narc, I recommend these two books I mentioned before, 20 Lies That Keep You with Your Abuser. This is developing anti-codependency traits and getting stronger and healthier and preparing your children so that you get ready to then follow up with the Enough is Enough book, which will actually show you how precisely to get out step by step. I'm working on a book now, as a matter of fact, we're calling Escaping Your Narcissist, What to Expect When You Divorce a Narc. And it's going to be, I think, a very helpful book, very specific in terms of a divorce process, which is a nightmare, but I want to prepare you to get through it. Now, both these are available, of course, on my website. The blonde Sandy Clark stands ready she takes care of the office stuff, and I just kind of do these videos, and I talk to people on the phone, and I don't want to do a bunch of stuff. Sandy is a can-do person. She does all that stuff. She'd be happy to send you a book or several books. And you might find people are finding out about more and more of my books. I have some fun books too. It's probably hard to believe, but I've got books on passion and marriage, Kiss Me Like You Mean It, personal emotional health, I'm Not Okay and Neither Are You, A Marriage After God's Own Heart, Spiritual Intimacy. We've got a number of other books that I think you may find. A couple that focus on the family books. Parenting is Hard and Then You Die, for if you're parenting kids and maybe grandparents too. And then Men Are Clams, Women Are Crowbars. So we do have fun books for a marriage that isn't in crisis. I'm just telling you. All right. Okay. That is my presentation. Don't forget the website, davideclarkphd.com. Now let's see what you got to say. I'm going to read some of these things here. Yeah, narcissistic abuse has been overlooked in the Christian community. Boy, isn't that the truth? The church could care less. 95% of churches aren't going to go there. They don't think it's abuse. And if they do think it's abuse, they don't care. It's your fault anyway. So you don't look for any help from the church. And if you don't have a pastor who gets it, you need to find a church. That's part of the escape. You may not go right away, but once you're out, you find a church and a pastor that get it. They're out there. There aren't many. Oh, yeah, the criminal justice system. Oh, my goodness. I'm making this clear in this current book I'm writing. The justice system's a joke. There is no justice. It's a con. It's a scam. You still get the best attorney you can. You got to get through the miserable process, but the court could care less about emotional abuse. They might listen to domestic violence. They don't understand emotional abuse. So you just got to get through. You can't look to the courts for any kind of justice. It's not there. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what we got going on with the Facebook people. Let's see what we've got here. Every church needs a David on staff. Boy, you're not kidding. Although churches wouldn't like me, I'm just way too edgy. In my old age, I'm getting edgier and edgier. My dear mother, Kathleen Clark, who's with the Lord now, didn't have a filter. Well, that's I'm like her. I'm sorry. I just say it. It can be offensive, but that's too bad. Okay. Yeah, emotional abuse is worse than anything. Man, it absolutely is. It will rip you to shreds. Talking to a lady a few days ago who's developed an autoimmune disorder, and the doctors think it's because of the stress of her marriage. I said, it's exactly what it is. She describes her narc. I said, that's your problem. It's like removing a cancer. You got to get away from cancerous tumor. Get away from it, and your health's going to improve. Yeah. This lady has a pastor that gets it. Very good. You hang on to that pastor. They're few and far between, and they'll actually support you. We don't want a pastor who says, well, we need some marriage counseling. You are past marriage counseling, waste of time. You want support. Now, until you're out of the home, you don't even want the pastor and the leaders to confront your husband. We don't want to tip him off. Secret plan. That's what I covered. Enough is enough. Get out. Later on, maybe we can have some confrontation. But their job is to support you, not to fool with him anymore. This lady has talked to the kids and tried to get them ready. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah, this one person, I couldn't find that many people supportive of her when she left. I was telling Lydia just today, it's a very small group. Maybe some family, maybe some key friends, hopefully a pastor, a Christian therapist, your attorney, who are gonna be supportive of you and on your side. You'll have nobody on your support team that isn't 100% in agreement with your decision to leave. And if you choose to divorce, you have biblical reason, your choice to divorce. People tend to drop off when you mention divorce. What are you supposed to do? Live with the person until you're dead because they're killing you? No. So they have to be completely on your side, and they won't fool. They won't fool with the narc. Hey, hi from Alaska. Yeah, we have some Alaska people. Very good. Yeah, autoimmune disorder after 5 years have figured it out. That's exactly what I'm talking about. The body has a way of healing itself when you get peace, when you don't have to have the fight or flight and the horrible reactions when you hear the garage door going up because the narc's coming home. The body can repair itself. Yeah, boy. Yeah, long time for the courts and the police to deal with it. Yeah, you're not kidding because they don't care. Yeah. Come to Alaska. I need to come to Alaska. Oh, the pastor would love me. He's straight up counseling for years. Very good. Maybe I'll come to Alaska. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Very good. Well, this is my TikTok people. We'll look over here on the Facebook and see what we've got. Ontario. Yeah, my dad, unless it's Ontario, California, my dad, who's also with the Lord and with my mom, which is where he wanted to be, because she died first, unfortunately. He was from Toronto, Ontario. Canadian, naturalized to the US. Yeah, love Ontario. Yeah, also from Alaska. This lady named Dawn. Very good. Yeah, you've got some people in Alaska. Yeah, boy. 15 years. Let me read this. Oh, yeah, 15 years. Been through marriage counseling a few times. You know what? Ends up being a waste of time. But you know what? God has a way of blessing you and honoring you because you tried. Yes, you try marriage counseling, you try confrontation, you might try a marriage intensive. Okay, you're done doing that. When God brings people to me, you've already done all that. Guess what? It hasn't worked. Fair enough. Now we got to do something else. Ireland. Yeah, Ireland. Speaking of Ireland, is always my grandfather was full Irish, came over from the old country and set up shop here. Of course, married my grandmother. Yes. Montreal. Very good. Yeah. Oh, I like this one. Can I kick a narc in the balls? Hey, tempting, I know. No. Now, emotionally speaking, you're going to do that, but we can't do that. We don't want to do any physical violence. No. Yeah, exactly. Can't use narcissistic abuse as a reason to get custody. That's exactly right. You know, you should. It's the dumbest thing in the world. That's our court system. But you know what? They don't care. They don't care. So you're not really going to go that route. Now, it's true. And your key support people will know, and your children will know. Oh, no question. But you know what? Nobody else cares. You're going to get the deal you can get with the tough attorney, and you're just going to get out. If it comes to divorce, and it probably will. But yeah, you don't try proving that to the court. All the narc has to say is she's lying. That's not true. Okay. Because typically they won't allow. I have a lady who has some video and some audio. It depends on the state. That's what the attorney's for. Can I use this legally? Probably not. But if you can, might be a different story. If he's screaming his head off and all this stuff. But even then, I think courts tend to not care. He got me pregnant while I was married to someone else. Oh my goodness. Short version. Yeah, boy. Well, she's gotten out of that relationship. All right. Yeah. All right. I need these books. Yes, you do, Sarah. Yes, you do. All right. Because I'm a no nonsense guy. So many Christian books, they don't handle what I'm handling in these two books. They won't go near it. They're kind of scared. They don't want to have people divorce. You know what? That's why God has these exceptions in the Bible. Absolutely. These are catastrophic events. The abandonment by the unbelieving spouse, adultery of any kind, one time shatters a marriage. Done. Over. It's usually much more than that with the narc, of course. And pornography counts as adultery too, full blown. And of course, chronic, never going to stop emotional abuse. These are reasons for divorce. Yes, they are. That's why they're in the Bible. Now, I work with hundreds, thousands of couples over the years where people, not a narc, they don't change hardly at all, but with regular people who've made horrible mistakes and they truly repent and we go through a healing process, 4, 5, 6 months, I've seen marriages saved and people change. That doesn't happen with the narc. I am telling you, very, very rarely. Where can I get these books? Yes, now that's what I want to hear. The website. Everything's on the website. David E. Clark, PhD.com. That's Clark with an E. You'll find everything there. I print the orders out. Look, that's my job. And then I hand it to the blonde and she takes care of the sending. It's a wonderful system. Oh, here's one. Do not use a mediator. Oh, yeah, I hear that. You know what? There are states where you're kind of forced to use a mediator, but I'm with her. Do not do collaborative divorce with a narc. Waste of time. He'll act like he's going to collaborate just to waste more money and make you suffer and then jerk the rug. Don't do. Lawyers love to recommend that. They also know it's bogus. Don't do that. You have your attorney and you go to war and you make the deal. If you're forced to go through mediation, okay. If you can avoid that, so much the better. Makes me feel like I'm a loser all the time. Yeah. Oh, he makes me feel like I'm a loser. Oh, you know what? This dear soul, that's a lie from the pit of hell. That's exactly what he's trying to do. You're not smart enough. You're not pretty enough. You're not a good housekeeper. You're this, you're that. There's constant criticism. It's death by a thousand cuts. Chinese water torture. Enough. If someone loves you, that's the last thing they do. Look, Sandy, God knows I've got so many quirks you wouldn't believe it. You're probably getting that impression. And I say things that probably shouldn't be said. Look, okay, but Sandy loves me. She's patient. She's kind. She focuses on the positive. All right. You doesn't pick me apart. That's what the narc does. Always the negative. You can never please him. It's never good enough. Yeah, here's a guy that husband had nothing to do with the children. What these narcs will often do is they don't give the kids the time of day. You're doing all the parenting. But when you file divorce, all of a sudden, they're father of the year. You're taking my kids and I want custody and I love my kids and I want time with my kids. Really? You're going to have to get through that. I'm telling you right now, most of these cases I have, even if the court, which they probably won't, but if they do rule 50-50 custody, he only wants it because of the money. He's not going to end up spending any more time with your kids. He's a liar and he's selfish and he doesn't want 8 hours a day with the kids or even 3 hours. But yeah, they have to look good to the community and like they really care. They don't care. Let's look at some of the TikToks. This lady's saying, yes. Well, yes. Thank you. Of course. Yeah. Yeah. We'll come back over to Facebook. Yeah. This one lady's having to solo parent. Yeah, boy. I know. Yeah. I wish I hadn't agreed to collaborative divorce. Yeah, I hear you. Not the end of the world. Very common to pick the wrong attorney initially because you don't know what you're doing. You've never chosen a family law attorney in your life. You're doing the best you can. I've got some guidelines in this new book, but it's okay to. I told a lady 2 days ago to fire her attorney because he's a weak penny waste. Now, you don't necessarily have to have a Christian attorney. Don't worry about that. If they're wimpy, you don't want one. If you've got a tough Christian like me, okay, fine. I'm not an attorney. Maybe I should have been. But you fire him. If he's not going to do the job or she, you're done. It'll cost you money, yes, but it's going to save you more when you get the right attorney on your team. So make sure you got the right attorney and you have to really make them work for you. Let's see what else we got here. Can you turn into a narc after being with one for so long? Nah, I don't think so. He wants to make you think that. No. Now you might pick up some of the traits, but I don't really think that's true. You're in the codependent position, you're the victim, you're affected by it. But normally you're just beaten down. You don't become a narc. I don't think that's true. Other bad things happen to you, that's for sure. Yeah. Yeah, there's one lady says that's the programming he put into your head. Yeah, see, it's brainwashing. It's a form of gaslighting. Oh, he'll call you everything in the book. Everything he is, the narc will call you. I'm not abusive, you are. I'm not a liar, you are. I'm not lazy, you are. I'm not selfish, you are. It's always opposite world. Baloney. He's the one. Look in the mirror like they're going to do that. Yeah. Yeah, trauma bonded. Good point. I was talking to a lady just today. This trauma bond is real. And it takes a while to get untrauma bonded. That's why I wrote 20 lies. Frankly, this is a start on the trauma bond. 20 lies that keep you with your abuser, step by step, chipping away at it, healing from your wounds. Christian therapy can be very important if you can afford it to kind of work through these things. And so over time, you'll become strong. Many of you maybe want to leave your narc today. Well, okay, you're not ready to do that. There's a lot of things you have to put into place, and the trauma bond is one of them. It's a real thing. You are tied. It's dysfunctional, but it's still real, and you have to kind of break that bond so you can leave him. He's convinced you can't make it on your own, and he's beating you down, so you have to get strong enough to leave him. I'm telling you right now, you can do it. Oh, is it true that being in a relationship with a narc for years causes brain damage? Well, I wouldn't say it's brain damage, no. But you're a different person. You're so broken down. I've had lady after lady say, I think I'm losing my mind. My health is broken. I don't like myself. I've lost who I am, my identity, who I think, what I feel, my own gifts, my service for the Lord, all stripped away. I tell them you can get all of that back. You've got to follow the right steps. You've got to heal. Your brain is fine. There's an overlay, of course, of the trauma and the dysfunction, but you're going to get it back. He wants you to believe you've got brain damage. You don't. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the brain mapping. Look, I know the Amen Clinic and all that has helped some people, but I'm not really a huge fan of that because I believe that God's going to protect your brain. Your body's breaking down, and certainly your brain is affected, but I think it's intact. I've seen so many ladies get through this, and they are dramatically different. They're who they used to be years ago, and they're fine. So I'm not going to go with that. No, yeah. Yeah, another guy that's being unfaithful in his marriage. Many narcs are. Oh yeah. And then when you find out and exposed pornography or another woman, whatever, some skank at the office, yeah, then there's no remorse. They might say they're sorry, and they might make some promises bogus because they'll get around it. They don't want to hear it again. I said I was sorry, forgive me, and really it's your fault anyway. So there's nowhere to go. Another reason to get out. That's adultery. That's a reason biblically. Yeah. Yeah, divorce is pending. No contact for 7 months. I like that no contact. I'm putting this in the new book. Once you leave your narc, you are done. There's no more in-person talking and there's nothing on the phone. There may be an app that you use, text, email, you choose. That's the only way you're going to communicate with him. And when you file, that's only going to be through your attorney. That's it. You don't sit. He'll say, "Let's sit down. Let's save money on the lawyers and let's you and I sit down." Bogus. He's going to torture you. He's going to lie. Don't even bother. That's what you pay the attorney for. Get me a decent deal. Do not go back and forth with the guy. No, 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 no. I get a lot of this. Are you just against men? Stop saying that. I'm just telling you. 15 to 20%. Remember this of narcissists are women. But I'm sorry, are women. That's fine. The same principles apply. I'm not going to go back and forth because it drives me nuts, and it probably would drive you nuts. Most narcs are men. There, I said it. 85%. That's why I do that. Now there are the others, and my principles in these books apply if you've got a woman who's a narc. Don't panic over that. All right. Yeah, here's a good one. I agree. If you're with a narc, it's best to keep a journal of the abuse. I cover part of that in 20 Lies. Oh, yeah. It's a private journal. You're going to start putting down what happens. Because what happens traumatically is if you're coping, part of the coping is you forget it happened. Today's a new day, and you're not really looking at what's happened. You keep a journal of what happens, what he says, what you think and feel, what you do, and you start reading that, and you'll start to realize, oh, here's what I'm living. Lady after lady I talk to, and some men too. It takes me 10 years or 8 years or 20 years to realize what I'm in. And the journal will help that. It's a good idea. It's a good idea. Yeah. Oh, yeah. If there's any kind, and listen to me, if there's any domestic violence, any kind of physical, you can't call them over emotional because they don't care. But if you're threatened, if he's throwing things, if he's striking you or one of the kids, you're going to call the cops. And if he's taken away, good. And yeah, you need photos of the damage he's done. Talking to a lady today, and this is the kind of horrible thing these people do. I don't think it was today. I think it was last week, matter of fact. But a guy who's punching, he was smart enough to punch his wife in the head. Why? Because it wouldn't show up. That's the kind of evil we're talking about. She wasn't strong enough to call the cops. I think she's getting strong enough now. Yeah. Yeah, hello from Colorado. Oh, Colorado. Love Colorado. Beautiful. When I go to do the Focus on the Family interviews, which I haven't done for a while, I think I'm too edgy for them now. But anyway, I love them. And it's a beautiful place, Colorado Springs, just gorgeous. Let's look what's happening over here. Yeah, if you have to co parent, keep on journaling. Oh, that's for sure. And a lot of this, once you are ready to get out, journaling, events, and documenting what he says and what he does in a number of different areas can be very helpful to your attorney. So it's a good idea to do that. Yes, it is. Yeah. Oh, here's a man. This does happen. This man's saying he's a narcissist and he actually wants to change and he's doing all kinds of work. And let's say he's telling the truth, but nobody believes him, and I guess his wife doesn't believe him. Yeah, that's one of the horrible things. I got a book for that too, called "I Destroyed My Marriage." I think if you're the narc and you have really damaged, and even if you're not a narc, if you damaged your wife horribly or your husband, and you know you've destroyed the marriage, that's a template. I destroyed my marriage to give you the best chance to make your spiritual, emotional changes and maybe win back your spouse. But listen to this: there are no guarantees, and they're very clear in the book. Let's say it's the wife that's the victim of what you did. Okay, you destroyed the marriage. You do your best before God and your kids and others and before the Lord to to make the changes, but she can still divorce you. There's no stopping that. That's that, and she has a right to do that. Never waver. Never get frustrated. You'll get frustrated. Don't tell her that because that'll ruin your chances. She has every right to divorce you. Biblically, she does, even if you change. Now, what we're hoping is that God will open her heart and if you're truly changed, maybe that can happen. That's why I wrote the book. But again, there's no guarantees. Forgiveness, yes. Reconciliation, not necessarily. And maybe she can't trust you again. I don't know. That's up to her. And I want to mention this. The Marriage Recovery Center is a great operation, Dr. David Hawkins. Some of you may know about it. They get it. They understand abuse. And I'm sending mostly men that admit they're narcissists. And if they truly want to change, and I don't know, I talk with them on the phone. Maybe they're true or not. I don't know. I only do it one time, but I will send them off there very often. And there's the great online program, and they can be put through their paces to work on their narcissism and emotional abuse. Good program, worth a try. Yeah. And if nothing else, you're changed, and you will be a better person and a better father. Yeah. Yeah. Here's a husband that destroyed our marriage. Yeah, together still for financial reasons. Yeah, I hear that. And that's one of the reasons why it may take longer than you'd like to leave this person. All right. But you can get trained. You can get a job. Now it may take 2 years, but the light at the end of the tunnel is you're getting out. Don't just stay and be destroyed because you think you can't make a living. You can, not overnight, but I wouldn't give up hope on that score. I would not. Co-parenting with a narc, safe for children. I'm trying to fight for my son's safety in court. Yeah, boy, I hear that. This is one of the horrible things that you have to go through in leaving a narc. I am convinced that in the vast majority of cases, it is better to go through that fight. And even if you have your son half the time and the narc has the son half the time, you're still better off. I'm telling you, he probably won't even spend 50%. But the 50% you have will end up saving your son. I believe it's right to leave. Now, you got to make that decision for yourself. But staying is a guaranteed series of traumas for your child. So I that's my view on that. I've seen it happen over and over again. You stay for the kids, and it doesn't do your kids any good. In fact, it harms them. Again, it may take time to get out, but I think you need to. Yeah. Okay, here's some folks. This person says she's 65. Well, good for you. I'm 63. We're in the prime. We're in the prime, I tell you. We got years left to go. Yeah. Oh, yeah, this is the guardian ad litem. Yeah, boy. When they get involved, you don't want a guardian ad litem, but the court may order that, and you do your best. Some are very good, some are awful. And the narc, of course, will work his magic to try to convince the GL that he's great and you're terrible. Gonna have to trust the Lord, gonna have to tell the truth, and God will get you through that. But it's yeah, you don't have these GALs have a tremendous amount of authority and influence in court. So again, that's part of the process. You do the very best you can. Oh yeah, somebody mentioning the mediator and how they can be fooled by the narc. Oh, I know they can fool everybody, and so you're very careful with this. Very often, if you're forced by the court to go to mediation, usually I think here in Florida it's once or twice. It's usually a colossal waste of time. So you don't go to mediation with any expectation that anything's going to be done. You're checking a box. Of course, it's costly. He's not going to make a deal. Very few will make a deal in mediation. If you have to get to that point, you just get through. You're not expecting. And your attorney should be smart enough to know this isn't going to work. And you want to end that mediation as soon as you possibly can and get the heck out of there because you're wasting your time and your money most of the time. Again, this isn't a normal divorce where you have a reasonable person. That's awful enough. But is actually going to work with you and not want to spend money and figure it out. Someone who's not trying to destroy you and make you suffer. Okay, that's a different matter. You don't have that. He'll twist the mediator into a pretzel. I know somebody else saying I'm talking about the man being the narc. You get over it. I'm just I'm telling you. Yes, the woman can be the narc. I don't focus on that because there aren't as many women narcissists. I'm just telling you. Yeah, yeah. Men are more pro. Someone's supporting me here. Thank you. Of course, there are many more men that are narcs. I've been at this for almost 40 years. I think I should know. Yeah, I do. I've come across women. Oh, and they can be awful. Absolutely stone cold awful. Shrews. Oh, yeah, they're out there. They can be narcs, of course. Very often they're borderline or other characterological disorders, but they will make your life a living hell. True. There just aren't as many of them. Again, yeah, yeah. Use the here's this is good advice. You can use the attorney. Your attorney again is critically important, and you want an activist attorney who will interact with the GAL, the guardian ad litem, and keep them in line and speak truth. He is your advocate, and you need that to shepherd you through the process. Yeah, get out of dysfunctional churches, man. You're not kidding. You have a pastor who's not going to support you, who wants you to go to marriage counseling, or who sides with the narc because he's on the church finance committee, or he's a deacon, or he mows the church's lawn, whatever. You're done. And before you might not leave right away, but you start looking for a pastor in your community that gets it. Do your research. And you can be on the QT because when you leave that home, that's the first place you're going to go to that church and to that pastor who will support you through the process. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Churches can end up abusing you as well. It's a form of spiritual abuse, is what it is. Yeah. Oh, here's some trying to help. Start saying they instead of him. No, I've been saying him too long. Yeah. Is it from childhood abuse? Can he be helped? You know what? I'm telling you right now, who cares? Who cares where it's coming from? Don't spend a lot of your time trying to figure out why the narc is the narc. Even if you could actually find out, and there are reasons why people turned into narcs, so what? It doesn't really make that much difference because he's not going to change. That's his job. If he wants to change, and I've seen some narcs change. This man might be one of them that texted in on the Facebook. I'm trying to change, and I really am changing. It's his job, not yours, to figure out why he's a narc. Family of origin, cultural decisions he's made, whatever. He's got to figure it out and fix it. That's not your problem. You've already been trying that for 20 years or 15 years. Don't do that anymore. No, he can't be helped. Yeah, probably true. I'll tell these ladies once you leave and you have and you're on the way to divorce, you hold the line. The message to the narc should be, I'm done. And to your kids, done. No chance. I don't care what you do, change, not change. I'm through with you. Now, the right man, if it's a person who's actually going to change, that will not stop him. All right. In the face of there's nothing you can do, he'll still get the job done for the next 8, 9, 10 months. Most narcs won't last a week, and they certainly won't last over a month. They will cave because there's no their magic isn't working. And if I can't get you back, I'm not going to do this. And they will turn on you like a snake. Okay, that's how you test them. No, the fact is, you might be done. You're not actually kidding. You're not kidding around here. I may be done with you, and you're given that because what God does is He turns the heart off. I've had 5 ladies this week tell me, and it's a weird feeling. All of a sudden, it's like they have no feeling for their narc. They're done. The heart is gone. No feeling, no empathy. And I've told each of those 5 ladies, that's God. That's perfectly normal. He's protecting your heart. You've taken enough of a beating, and it's shut off. And unless God himself puts your heart back on, and he's not going to do that unless your narc actually is going to change, you're done. And you should be done. That's absolutely, it's a weird feeling, but it's absolutely normal. Takes years to get to that point. You take so many hits and then you're done. I feel guilty when I stand my ground. You know what? That's part of the dysfunction. That's part of codependency. You're going to have to fake it till you make it because it does feel wrong. And you'll pay a price for standing your ground. The narc won't like it, but your children will begin to see, okay, there's two different points of view here. I don't think dad's wrong. I think dad's mistreating mom. Even little kids can pick up the vibe because you're not taking it. If you take the abuse and you say nothing, thinking you're protecting your kids, you will lose your kids. I've seen that happen a million and one times. Don't be that person. You need to start speaking up. They will side with the narc. There is no defense. They'll believe what he's saying. Smart kids will believe it. Don't let that happen. You need to speak up, especially when the kids are around. This lady says, I'm at that point with my heart. Absolutely normal. Heart shut off. That's actually, it's weird, but it's actually a good thing. It is protective of you. Let's check our time here. We're doing good. We're doing fine. We're going to keep going because I feel like it. Yeah, the GAL is paid by you and the narc. Yeah. But again, the attorney has to be involved and they have every right to be involved. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. These go by pretty fast. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Oh, here's one. I've had cases like this. My husband became a homosexual. Oh my goodness. Any form of sexual sin is awful. That's particularly bizarre. It's like, oh my goodness. Wow. That's what we call a deal breaker, obviously. That's just like, whoa, and it's very hurtful. The rejection, even though you know that that's awful and wrong and you're free to get out, it's still a rejection and just an awful situation that you're going to have to heal from. Truth of the matter is, most don't just suddenly become a homosexual. He married you knowing that was his weakness. And maybe if I marry Jane or Buddy, Betty or Susie, I'll be able to, be different. No, that's called being defrauded, and there's no excuse for it. Again, and there's treatment for homosexuality. Absolutely, there is. Men or women, Christian, solid treatments. They're probably usually not interested. Yeah, yeah. This lady's waiting for the sign to leave him. Hmm. Yeah, I'll talk to ladies all day long. Maybe I'm the sign. I have no problem saying leave him. And it's when you're in the middle of it, you can't often see it. That's why that's a service I provide when I get the story and the background and episode after episode after episode of abuse and narcissism and damage being done, and the lady's still there and isn't sure it's narcissism. That's my job. Yeah, that's narcissism, full blown. And they're often shocked, really, because it's like the frog in the warm water. You're just used to it. You're used to being treated like garbage. Maybe you had that in your home. And you think you deserve it. No, it's emotional abuse and it's narcissism, and you can get away from it. Yes, you can. If you're looking for a sign, that's the sign. Yeah, yeah, boy. God is speaking to you. And hopefully, and we're finding this true, God's using these books to make a difference and to get people to open their eyes and say, you know what? I don't have to live this way. I don't. He will not help me with our three children. Yeah, I bet he won't. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The payback never stops. Yeah, boy. Yeah. Yeah, they're great liars, world-class liars, and they believe their own lies, which makes them even more persuasive. That's why you'll lose the PR battle. They lie beautifully. They'll make things up. They'll take weaknesses as yours that's actually a kernel of truth, like the devil does, and then blows them up into ridiculous situations, but they're so persuasive that they'll fool people. Okay, and you have to be ready for that. You're gonna lose friends. Talked to a lady, earlier, this week that had lost a number of her friends. They were supportive until the moment she filed divorce, and they couldn't deal with that. I said, "Those aren't true friends. They expect you to stay and stay separated forever or stay with the guy and be destroyed. That's not a friend. You will find out who your friends are, and there aren't going to be many of them. I've had people, their own family turns against them. Okay, cut them off. I don't care if you're blood related. You're done if they are not supportive of you. They're abusive too. Yeah. Here, I like this. I asked for a sign for so long until I realized that was a sign. Yeah, if you're still looking for a sign, that probably is a sign that you need to get out. Yeah. Yeah, boy. Yeah. Let's see what else we got over here. Thanks for all the comments. Yeah, we're rolling here. Good for you. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, boy, this lady is getting ready for the courts. Yeah, you got to get tough and ready for the courts. That's what the book I'm writing now I think is going to be very helpful. Escaping your narcissist. What to expect when you divorce a narc. Small N. In fact, the entire book it's small N because that's all they deserve. But really getting ready for the legal system. That's the last section of the book. Man alive, not just the right attorney. That's critical. But all the things the narc is going to throw you away. Every dirty trick in the book, because every single narc I've ever come across hires the sleaziest attorney in town and they go to war and love the process. You got to have somebody who's a warrior, who's as mean as your narc's attorney, not a sleaze, tough, combative, knows the courts and will push back and shove it down their throats and knows what to do to protect you. All they understand is strength. If they see the slightest weakness, you're done. And you can't do that. I was talking to this lady, I guess it was last week, about another weak need attorney. And she already put thousands of dollars into this attorney. I had to tell her, leave that guy. I guess that's two ladies I told that to him the last couple of weeks. Because he was saying things to her like, well, I don't know if we can win, or I'm not sure. I think it's going to go this way. I think we're not going to be able to. I said, attorneys don't talk, good attorneys don't talk that way. They say we're going to win. And here's how we're going to win. And here's the strategy. They are sharp. They know what they're doing. They don't just quit. If you think you're not going to get the right decision, you're not going to get it by definition. You want a street fighter, a brawler, tough, not going to hold your hand. Maybe has no empathy. Maybe a narc too. Who cares? He's going to be your advocate, and she wants to win. That's the kind of attorney you need. Going to cost you more, but worth it because they end up saving you money in the long run and getting you more custody. And mentioning custody, there's some horse trading that goes on here. And a lot of narcs will trade money because they love money. They'll trade money. This is behind the scenes. Nobody knows. But they'll trade money for custody. And you maybe get more time with your children. You have to give up some money. That's a decent trade. You're not going to give everything up, but it's okay. There's all kinds of that's how the game is played legally. All kinds of things that you can trade, and maybe he'll go for. And this lady's going through it right now. Yeah, boy. Well, you're going to get through. Yeah, these covert narcs sometimes have power and powerful friends. Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah. And they'll weaponize them. Exactly right. Not much worse than being married to an attorney, for example, who's a narc. Oh my goodness. That's going to be a rough one. Police officer. The courts still to this day respect a police officer. They'll believe what he says, even though he's lying his dumb head off. He's part of the fraternity. Also going to be difficult. But there are narcs who have political connections, family connections, some of these small towns where they just know the right people. Yeah, that's going to work against you. Okay. Even more important to get the right attorney and make sure your attorney isn't cozy with the other attorney. He may know the person, but they're not like friends and they're like on the same team. I've seen that happen to ladies, especially. You want someone who's going to fight and fight for you. Yeah. He calls me the maid and the chef. Yeah, exactly. That's all you're good for. That's exactly right. Yeah. Oh yeah. Here's a narc. Uses the fact that I have no family against me. Oh my goodness. You know what? Wow, nasty. They're incredibly nasty people. Evil, really. Yeah, boy. Let's see what else we got over here. Yes, and this is a good prayer. Pray that you get a judge who can see through the narc. Exactly. God's in charge of the process, but that's a prayer. You stop praying that your narc will change. Stop it. Waste of time. You've done that for years. You're done with that. Now you're praying like David prays in the Psalms against his enemies. Clear prayer, and God answered those prayers. You want the narc to be vanquished, to be stopped, to be taken out, whatever God wants to do. You ask for victory legally. You pray for your attorney. You pray against him and his attorney. It seems wrong to do that. It's not wrong to do that. You are fighting for your life and for your kids. So the prayers shift. I might do another live stream on that because prayer is very important, but how you pray is critical. Oh, hide. Yeah, this is the husband. This is classic. I'm going to cover this in this book. The husband hiding money from you. Oh, yeah. Now, if at all possible, before you leave and before you file, you need to get copies of every single financial document you can get your hands on. Very often, if he controls everything, you're going to have to make some moves behind the scenes and maybe even out front to get your name on things and to find out where the money is, tax returns, all the financial documents. Because guess what? You're not going to see those during the divorce process, or you'll have to spend months because he'll stall and lie, and you can't get your hands on them. So you want to get those now. What you tell the narc, like he cares, is I'm your wife. What if you drop dead today? I need to know these things. Now, he's smart. He may know what you're doing. Well, whatever. And legally, you may be able to force, not that you're divorcing him. In fact, you are, but you don't tell him that. I need to know, financial advisor, I need to have the information. I'm your wife. You have a legal right to it, but you may have to fight for it. Folks are helping each other here, which I like. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Put his name on the house I paid cash for. Oh, yeah. Check all the titles before you leave and before you file. You may find that only his name's on the home, only his name's on the cars. You know what? That's going to have to change, even legally, before you leave and before you file. This has to be changed. These guys will do all kinds of crazy stuff. He will cancel your credit cards. He will cancel your cell phone. He won't pay for certain bills. He will clean out the bank accounts. You have to be ready for that. That's what narcs do. He'll take money and hide it in different accounts. He'll take money and hide it with his crazy relatives. You have to be prepared for that. That's why, if at all possible, you need a part-time job or a full-time job. You got to have money coming in. You got to have a war chest. If you've got a family that has money, you're asking, friends, help me, because you need a war chest. Attorneys, the good ones aren't cheap. Even the bad ones aren't cheap. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, yeah, he put everything in his name. Yeah, you know he did. Dirt ball. That's exactly what they do. That's what you're going to have to change that legally, if at all possible, before you leave. And he cannot say you can't see the tax return. He can say that. You may have to compel him to do that. And so you may have to show your hand earlier, but you have to have that information. Absolutely you do. You can't go blind. Good for you. This is a lady. I've stopped being intimate years ago. I refuse, and his mother told me that is why he treats me this way. Yeah, come on. Yeah, what a wonderful person. That's why he turned out so great. You have every right to say no to sex. This is not a normal situation as the Bible describes, where my body's not mine, his body's not his. Forget that. This is an abuser who's destroying you. This is like being raped in your own bedroom. To give your body, ladies, to a man who treats you this way, no. Every right to say, you're not touching me. Oh, no. He may have a fit. Now, of course, he'll go out and get sex somewhere else. And of course, that'll be your fault. No, it's not your fault. You have every right to protect yourself from that kind of damage. Oh, yeah. Most churches don't believe that. In fact, they actually are dumb enough to think that if you actually give yourself to him sexually and please him, well, that'll help the situation and he'll change. No, it won't. These are the dumbest people on the earth. It's ridiculous. They don't get it. That's called enabling. Plus, you're harming yourself. And guess what? You've already tried that for 10 years, 5 years, 15 years. How's it going? It's not working. I have every right to say, forget it. Well, my friends believe he's gay. Yeah. Well, like this one lady. Yeah, he might be. I don't know. Now, if a narc isn't interested in you and he's not 85 or 90 years old, yeah, he's either doing porn or he's getting sex somewhere else. Okay, you're not going to probably know the extent of it, but yeah, you don't have to take that kind of rejection. Yeah, and the truth is, with most of these narcs, there's a whole, the tip of the iceberg. You don't know, you're not going to know in your lifetime, and you probably don't need to. You know enough to divorce him and to get away, but all kinds of things he's doing sexually, with the money, people behind your back. I mean, who knows that you're never going to know? Okay, you don't have to. You know enough to get away from him. No, I can't trust. I can't trust anyone. Oh, anyone, any woman again. Yeah, and this is the guy talking. Okay, if your wife does you this way, yeah. Now it's going to take time. You're going to have to heal from the trauma and the rejection. And it's very possible if you've got biblical reason to divorce, you have biblical reason to remarry. but you have to be healthy first. That's why I wrote the book, I Didn't Want a Divorce, Now What? We have a book for everything I'm telling you across the spectrum that will help you heal and prepare you for the person that God has had for you all along. So you don't have to get remarried, of course, but you can rebuild trust. It just takes time, and you'll be very careful, of course, with the next person you choose. Absolutely. Yeah. Here's a good point. Yeah, there's this, if you're focused on the narc and trying to change him and taking all the hits from him, all your energy and power in a healthy way is just drained out. You need to redirect that to yourself and get strong so you can leave him. Easier said than done, but you can do it. Yeah. Yeah, love yourself again. That's exactly right. You need to be good to yourself. I've got a chapter in the new book, Escaping Your Narcissist, on that very thing. Be good to yourself. No one else is going to take care of you. That's your job. All right. Spiritual growth, emotional healing, and physical exercise, and just doing things that are good for you. Getting your identity back is going to be very important. Yes, it is. That's part of getting ready to leave a narc. Yeah, get an attorney and get a therapist. Exactly right. Yeah, boy. Oh, shit. Here's one. Ship books to Canada, please. We need to make an exception probably for Canada. We're getting people that are buying the ebooks from all over the world, actually. Austria, Germany, Ghana. I mean, Australia, New Zealand. The blonde doesn't like to send books internationally because it's just a major hassle. We may make it, if we keep selling books like we're selling, thanks to Phil Dugas of Dugas Creative, based here in Tampa, and all the digital community stuff he's doing, we may have to make an exception. So stay tuned. Maybe if I ask the blonde nicely, we'll figure out maybe some ways to do this, and we'll see. But the ebooks are always available, no matter where you live, and that's the good news. That's why we did them. Yeah, PTSD. Oh yeah, if you're living with a narc, you've got PTSD. Period, and maybe some other. That's trauma, and that's part of what you're going to have to recover from as you prepare to leave him, and as you leave him, and even after the divorce. Yeah, this is a real thing, and it doesn't go away until you work through it. You're going to be able to do that, and it'll be part of part of dealing with the trauma bond is dealing with PTSD. Not the total thing, but it's part of it. No question about that. Yeah. Here's a good question. And this depends on how old the kids are. Can I keep the kids away from their father even though he's giving financial support? Well, it's whatever the court decides. Uh, Now, if he's abusive to the kids, that's something else. You'll go to the wall and you'll fight that to the very wall to keep them away from him. Some of these narcs can be nice to the kids and their father of the year, and let's go to Disneyland, whatever. I'll buy you a toy, whatever. That's one thing. But that doesn't mean just because he's giving financial support, you have to. And once children get 12, 13, 14 years old, typically they can say, I don't want to see my dad. And no court's going to make you force the kids to go see him. Younger kids, a little dicier. You're going to have to kind of maneuver, and it's the hardest thing in the world to send your kids off with someone that you can't stand and that you think may harm the kids. That's difficult to do. Sometimes, depending on the court process, you can have supervised, visitation if you can really prove he's abusive. This is difficult. Going to have to work that out legally. Let's see. These are folks helping each other. Sorry you're being treated this way. Yeah, good for you. See, we can help each other. Oh, I'm planning my escape this weekend. Good for you. Mum's the word. I like that. And it is an escape. It's escape from prison. And I'm hoping this lady, I hope she's planned well. She's going to get out. Very good. There comes a point when you leave and you don't go back. You can expect all kinds of reactions from him, many of which you'll see in Enough is Enough. Fake repentance to character assassination to promises he's not going to keep. And you have to be ready for those. And you do not respond no matter what he does. One of the saddest things I hear, man or woman, but when the narc convinces you that, I've changed and I'm going to repent like they've done a million times, and you fall for it, and you take them back, or you go back to them, and it's the same old thing. Don't do that. Hold the line. When you get ready to leave, you leave, and you're done, and it's okay to be done. Yeah. Oh yeah, this happens. You leave a guy, you know you should leave him, and then you become pregnant. Oh my goodness! Of course, you had sex with him. Obviously, okay. That doesn't mean even if you're going to have a child with somebody, if you're not married, doesn't mean you have to live with him. Doesn't mean you have to go back to him. That's a separate operation. Now, if you're married, that's again, it doesn't mean you have to do that. Raise the child on your own. Who knows? Yeah. Let's see what we got here. I can't read this. Yeah, look, this happens. 50 years old, in her 50s, and is now and is married has been married to two narcissists. I hear that all the time. You know what God says? I love you. It's okay. I'm disappointed that you had to go through all that pain, but He loves you, and He would be fine with you leaving the second narcissist. Absolutely. It's not well. You This is your second mistake. You're going to have to stay. God wouldn't say that because He knows. Now, you leave, you get healthy. God will reset, and He will bless your life. There'll be others who want to make you feel bad and feel guilty. No. And you don't feel good about that. But you know what? God loves you. He's a gracious God. It's okay. You get out and you heal up and you can move forward in life. Let's check our time. Okay, it's 8:30. Look, I'm going to call this. I don't like to go much over an hour because the blonde's at home and frankly, she misses me. I'm just telling you. And so, got to go back home. But thank you so much for all the interaction, all the questions, the comments, and helping each other. We're here to help each other, and I thank you so much for that. Don't forget these books, Enough is Enough, and 20 Lies That Keep You With Your Abuser. You go to the website, daviddclarkphd.com with an E. You will see all the books, all the resources, the phone advice. It's all there. All right. So we're going to keep doing these live streams, and we will be letting you know about those, and look forward to next time. Thanks for being with us.